The auditorium was a sea of black gowns and beaming faces. Parents squeezed each other's hands, flowers were clutched, camera flashes popped like tiny stars. I sat in the front row of the business school graduates, summa cum laude cord draped around my neck, valedictorian medal heavy against my chest. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I knew who it was. My father had promised no, sworn he'd be here. Harvard Business School valedictorian. My daughter? I wouldn't miss it for the world, Harper. I discreetly checked the message. The words were like ice watered down my spine. Something came up. Your sister has a ballet recital. Don't expect any more help from us. You're on your own now. Congratulations. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. A ballet recital. For my 12-year-old stepsister, Chloe, the golden child from my father's new, perfect family. My graduation from the most prestigious business school in the country was something that came up. I looked at the empty seats beside me. My mother had passed away when I was 14. My father was all I had left. Or so I'd thought. The dean called my name. Harper Vance, valedictorian. I walked to the podium on autopilot, my heart a hollow drum in my chest. I delivered my speech about innovation through adversity and building your own legacy without hearing my own words. The applause was thunderous, but it sounded like it was coming from another universe. After the ceremony, while other graduates were wrapped in familial hugs, I walked alone back to my tiny campus apartment. I packed my few belongings into 2 suitcases. I had exactly $1,247 in my bank account, a mountain of student debt, and a burning, crystalline resolve. My father's text had been the final, clean cut. The umbilical cord of conditional love, severed. He wanted me on my own? Fine, but he had no idea what I'd been building while he wasn't looking. 3 years earlier, during my first semester at HBS, I'd partnered with my roommate, Maya, a coding genius from it. We'd created Ether Logistics, a machine learning algorithm that optimized last-mile delivery for e-commerce. We built the first prototype in our dorm room, funding it with prize money from business plan competitions. We kept it secret from everyone, especially our families. My father believed I was just studying. He'd ask about my grades, never about my dreams. After graduation, Maya and I moved to a cheap warehouse space in Brooklyn. We lived on instant ramen and desperation. We coded for 20 hours a day. We pitched to every venture capitalist who would give us 10 minutes. We were locked out of rooms to girls with an algorithm. The delivery space is saturated. Then we got our break. A mid-sized e-commerce company, desperate to cut costs, tried our platform on a trial basis. We reduced their delivery failures by 47% and costs by 32%. They signed a contract, then another company, then another. Within 18 months, Ether Logistics was profitable. Within 3 years, we were the invisible engine behind some of the biggest names in retail. We hired quietly, strategically. We never saw press. We were the industry's best-kept secret. My father, during our rare, strained phone calls, would ask, "Found a real job yet? Maybe your sister's friend can get you an interview at his firm." I'd smile tightly at the phone. "I'm managing, Dad." He'd sigh, that disappointed sound I knew so well. "Just don't come asking for money. We're helping Chloe with her equestrian lessons." It's expensive, as if I'd ever ask, as if I'd ever give in the satisfaction. The money I made, I reinvested every dollar. Maya and I own the company 50/50. We paid ourselves modest salaries. The rest fueled growth, silent, relentless, explosive growth. The morning of our IPO roadshow, I stood on the balcony of our new corporate penthouse overlooking Manhattan. I wore the charcoal gray suit my armor. At 29, I was about to become one of the youngest female CEOs to take a company public. My personal phone rang, a number I hadn't seen in years. My father, I let it go to voicemail. He called again and again. Finally, I answered, my voice neutral. "Hello, Dad. Harper." "Thank God. Listen, we have an emergency. Chloe's been accepted to this elite boarding school in Switzerland." It's a huge opportunity, but the deposit is $50,000. We need to pull it together by Friday. Your stepmom and I were hoping you could contribute. Maybe $15,000? You've been working a while now, you must have saved something. The audacity took my breath away. 3 years of silence, and his first words were a demand for money for his other daughter. Dad, I said slowly. You told me not to expect help. I took you at your word. The answer is no, he exploded. After everything we've done for you. We paid for your undergraduate degree. You owe us this. You're selfish, just like your mother said you'd be. The mention of my mother, weaponized, was the final straw. Goodbye, Dad. I blocked his number. 30 minutes later, I was in a conference room with our CFO, David, and the lead bankers from Goldman Sachs. We were reviewing the final numbers before the roadshow began. David's phone buzzed. He looked at it, then at me, his eyes wide. Harper. It's the NYSE, the initial pricing feedback. They're recommending we raise the range significantly. How significantly? I asked, my heart beginning to pound, from $28.30 to $40 to $46 per share. I did the mental math. At the higher end, with our share count, my personal equity stake would be worth just over $187 million. Maya's would be the same. The room erupted in quiet, professional celebration. The bankers shook my hand. David grinned like a madman. My work phone this time rang. It was my assistant. Harper, your father is in the lobby. He's demanding to see you. He's saying it's a family emergency. I felt a cold calm settle over me. He must have called the main line. He'd probably looked up where I worked, finally curious enough to search after his demand for money failed. Send him up to the executive reception, I said. I'll be there in 5 minutes. I took a deep breath. I looked at David. Keep the celebration going. I have a family matter to attend to. I walked out of the conference room, down the sleek glass corridor of the Ether headquarters we'd built from nothing. The reception area was all white marble and floor-to-ceiling windows, with a panoramic view of the city that seemed to bow at our feet. My father stood there, looking out of place in his off-the-rack suit, his face red with anger and entitlement. He turned as I entered. Harper, we need to talk about your attitude. I didn't let him finish. Dad, you're just in time. Let me introduce you to David, my CFO. David had followed me out, sensing the drama. My father blinked, confused. CFO, what are you talking about? You work at a startup? David extended his hand, a sharp, professional smile on his face. Mr. Vance, it's an honor. We were just finalizing the details for Ether Logistics IPO next week. Harper's leadership has been extraordinary. At the revised pricing, her stake will be valued at approximately $187 million. The color drained from my father's face. Literally, it went from red to a sickly, pale white in 3 seconds. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He looked at David, then at me, then at the opulent office around him, the reality crashing down with physical force. IPO 180-7 million? The words were a choked whisper. I smiled, the same warm, inviting smile I'd practiced, but my eyes were stone cold. You told me not to expect help, so I didn't. You told me I was on my own. So I built my own world. I took a step closer, my voice dropping. And in my world, Dad, we don't give $15,000 to people who skip our graduation for a ballet recital. I turned to David. Please escort Mr. Vance out. We have a company to take public. As my father was led away, stumbling, still pale, still speechless, I turned back to the window. The city sparkled, endless with possibility. The girl he'd abandoned was gone. In her place stood a woman who owned her future, down to the last decimal point, and she was just getting started.